I had said, if you invite your boss him, I'll leave.
I never thought my marriage would end on my wife's 35th birthday. Sarah and I had been together for 8 years, good years, or so I thought, but when she announced she was inviting her boss Derek to her birthday party at our house, something inside me snapped. "Sarah," I said, looking her straight in the eye, "if you invite that man to your birthday, I'm done, I'm out." She laughed it off like I was being ridiculous. 3 days later, Derek showed up at our door with an expensive gift, and what happened next changed everything. Before we continue, if you're enjoying this story, please hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss our daily stories about real-life drama, relationships, and the lessons we learn from them. Your support means everything to us. Now let me take you back to where this all started. 6 months before that birthday party, Sarah had always been ambitious. She worked as a marketing manager at a tech startup downtown, and I admired her drive. We both worked hard, me as a civil engineer, her climbing the corporate ladder. Our life was comfortable, predictable, safe. Then Derek arrived. He was hired as the new VP of marketing, Sarah's direct supervisor. From day one, she couldn't stop talking about him. "Derek has such innovative ideas," she'd say over dinner. "Derek thinks I have real potential for a director position." Derek invited the whole team for drinks after work. At first, I was supportive. A good boss could mean career advancement, better pay, maybe even that house we'd been saving for. But as weeks turned into months, Derek's name came up more and more. Late night texts about urgent projects, weekend calls that couldn't wait until Monday, business dinners that stretched past midnight. "It's just work, Mike," Sarah would insist whenever I brought it up. "You're being paranoid." Was I? I wanted to believe her, but there were small things that gnawed at me. The way she'd angle her phone away when texting, the new perfume she started wearing, the fact that she'd stopped sharing details about her day unless I specifically asked. One evening, I came home early from a site inspection to find Sarah on a video call, laughing in a way I hadn't heard in months. When she saw me, she quickly said goodbye and closed her laptop. "Who was that?" I asked, already knowing the answer. "Just Derek, we were discussing the quarterly presentation." "At 7 p.m. and since when do quarterly presentations require that much laughter?" She rolled her eyes. "You're being ridiculous, Mike. Derek is my boss, that's it." But it wasn't just that. It was the way she said his name, with a warmth, an excitement that had disappeared from her voice when she talked to me. We'd become roommates who occasionally had uncomfortable conversations rather than partners who once couldn't wait to see each other. The breaking point came when Sarah announced her birthday plans. We were in the kitchen, me making coffee, her scrolling through her phone. "So, I'm thinking of having a party here for my birthday," she said casually. "Nothing huge, just close friends and a few people from work." "Sounds good," I replied, though we hadn't entertained in months. "Who from work?" "Oh, you know, Jennifer, Tom, Maya," she paused. "And Derek." The coffee mug stopped halfway to my lips. "Derek? Your boss, Derek?" "Yes, Mike, my boss. Is that a problem?" I set down the mug carefully. "Sarah, we need to talk about this." "There's nothing to talk about. He's been supportive of my career, and it would be rude not to invite him when I'm inviting the rest of the team." "The rest of the team is one thing, but him, specifically, in our home, on your birthday?" I could feel my pulse quickening. "You've been practically living at work, constantly on your phone with him, and now you want him at your birthday party? Can't you see how that looks?" Sarah's face hardened. "How it looks? You mean how it looks to your insecure, jealous mind? Derek is my colleague, Mike, my boss. I'm not going to sabotage my career because you can't handle me having a professional relationship with a man. This isn't about professionalism, Sarah. This is about boundaries, about respect. You know how I feel about this, and you're choosing to ignore it. You don't get to control who I invite to my own birthday party." That's when I said it, the ultimatum I'd been holding back for weeks. "Sarah, I'm telling you right now, if you invite Derek to your birthday, I'm out. I'm done. I won't sit in my own house and watch you celebrate with a man who's clearly more important to you than your husband." She stared at me like I'd slapped her. "You're giving me an ultimatum? Seriously? Call it what you want, but I mean it. This is the line." For a moment, I thought I saw doubt flicker across her face, but then her jaw set in that stubborn way I knew too well. "Fine, Mike, if that's how you want to play this, fine." She walked out of the kitchen, and I stood there wondering if I'd just made the biggest mistake of my life. or finally stood up for myself when it mattered most. The next 3 days were silent warfare. Sarah threw herself into party planning with an almost manic energy. I watched her order decorations, arrange catering, create a playlist, all without asking for my input or even acknowledging my presence beyond what was absolutely necessary. I kept waiting for her to tell me she'd reconsidered, that she'd uninvited Derek, that she chose her marriage over whatever this was, but the invitation remained. On the morning of her birthday, I woke up to find her side of the bed already empty. I found her in the guest room where she'd apparently slept, surrounded by party supplies. "Happy birthday," I said quietly. "Thank you," she replied without looking up. "Sarah, it's not too late. Just tell him not to come. We can work through this." Finally, she looked at me. Her eyes were cold. "I'm not uninviting him, Mike. You made your choice with that ultimatum. I'm making mine." My stomach dropped. "So that's it? You're really choosing him over us?" "I'm not choosing him. I'm choosing not to be controlled by baseless jealousy. There's a difference." "Is there?" She didn't answer. The party started at 7. By 6:45, our house was filled with Sarah's friends and co-workers. I played the dutiful host, greeting people, making small talk, all while a knot tightened in my chest. At 7:15, the doorbell rang. Sarah practically ran to answer it. I watched from the kitchen as she opened the door to reveal Derek, tall, confident, holding an elaborately wrapped box that looked like it cost more than my monthly car payment. "Sarah, happy birthday!" His voice boomed through our house. He handed her the gift, and she actually hugged him. Not a polite, professional hug, a real embrace that lasted just a second too long. Something broke inside me then. I walked over as they separated. "Derek," I said, extending my hand with all the cordiality I could fake. "Thanks for coming." "Mike, great to finally meet you properly. Sarah talks about you all the time." The lie was smooth, practiced. We both knew she didn't. "Open it," someone called out, and the crowd gathered around as Sarah tore into the expensive wrapping paper. Inside was a Cartier bracelet. Even from where I stood, I could see it was real. That thing probably cost $5,000, maybe more. The room went quiet. You could have heard a pin drop. Sarah's face flushed. "Derek, this is too much." "Nonsense," he said smoothly. "You've been invaluable to the company. You deserve to be appreciated." She looked at the bracelet, then at me, then back at the bracelet. I saw the moment she made her choice. She slipped it onto her wrist. "It's beautiful, thank you so much." The party continued, but I was done. I walked upstairs to our bedroom and started packing a bag. I heard footsteps behind me 20 minutes later. "What are you doing?" Sarah asked from the doorway. I didn't turn around. "What does it look like? I told you what would happen. You made your choice. I'm making mine." "You're really leaving because of a bracelet? Because my boss gave me a birthday gift?" Now I turned. "Sarah, a boss doesn't give his employee a $5,000 bracelet. A man interested in a woman does. And a married woman who respects her husband doesn't accept it. But you did. In front of everyone. In our home. It's not like that." "Then tell me what it's like. Explain to me why his opinion matters more than mine. Why you'd risk our marriage for someone you claim is just your boss. Make it make sense, Sarah." She opened her mouth and closed it. Tears welled in her eyes, but I was past the point where tears could reach me. "I thought so," I said quietly. I zipped up my bag. "I'll come back for the rest of my things this week. I'm going to stay at my brother's." "Mike, wait." "Goodbye, Sarah. Enjoy your party." I walked past her, down the stairs, and through the living room where her party continued. Derek was holding court in the center, making people laugh. He caught my eye as I headed for the door, and I saw it, a flash of triumph. That's when I knew for certain. This wasn't in my head. This wasn't paranoia. Whatever was happening between them, it was real. I filed for divorce 3 weeks later. Sarah contested it, claimed I was overreacting, that nothing had happened with Derek. Her lawyer argued that I'd abandoned the marriage over a birthday gift. But I stood firm. The bracelet wasn't the reason I left. It was just the final, undeniable proof that I'd already lost my wife to someone else. The truth came out 2 months into the divorce proceedings. Sarah's co-worker, Jennifer, who'd been at the party, reached out to me. She'd been carrying guilt, she said. She needed to tell me the truth. Derek and Sarah had been having an affair for 4 months before the birthday party. The whole office knew. The expensive bracelet wasn't just a gift, it was Derek's way of staking his claim publicly, of showing everyone that Sarah was his now, not mine. Jennifer sent me proof, text messages, photos from a company trip where they'd shared a hotel room. Even an email where Sarah had written to a friend about how alive Derek made her feel compared to her boring husband. I won't lie, reading that email nearly destroyed me. I'd given Sarah 8 years of my life, I'd supported her career, celebrated her successes, and this was how she saw me: boring, an obligation, an obstacle to her excitement. The divorce was finalized 4 months later. Sarah had to split our assets, including the house we'd bought together. She moved in with Derek within a week of the papers being signed. I'm writing this story 1 year after that birthday party. A year after my marriage ended over a Cartier bracelet and a man who had no business being in our home. People ask me if I regret the ultimatum, if I should have fought harder, tried counseling, found a compromise. Here's what I've learned. You can't compromise on respect. You can't meet halfway on fidelity. When someone shows you they value someone else more than they value you, believe them the first time. 6 months after our divorce was finalized, I heard through mutual friends that Sarah and Derek had broken up. Turns out Derek was married too, something he'd conveniently forgotten to mention to Sarah. His wife found out about the affair and gave him his own ultimatum. He chose his marriage. Sarah was left with nothing: no husband, no boyfriend, no job. She quit after the scandal, and half a house that barely covered her legal fees. She reached out to me 3 times asking if we could talk. I didn't respond. There was nothing left to say. As for me, I'm doing better than I thought possible. I'm dating someone new, someone who thinks I'm exciting, who values my opinion, who would never put another man above our relationship. I've been promoted at work. I bought a small condo downtown that's all mine. Some nights, I still think about Sarah, about the woman I married, not the stranger she became. I wonder if things could have been different if I'd set boundaries earlier, if I'd spoken up the first time Derek's name became more important than mine in her vocabulary. But mostly, I'm grateful. Grateful I had the courage to walk away. Grateful I didn't wait until I caught them in bed together or waste years on someone who'd already left our marriage in everything but name. That birthday party taught me something vital. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to enforce your boundaries, even when it costs you everything, especially when it costs you everything. Because a relationship without respect, trust, and priority isn't a relationship worth having, no matter how much history you share or how much you want to hold on. If this story resonated with you, please consider subscribing to our channel. We share real stories about relationships, boundaries, and the difficult choices we all face. Hit that like button, leave a comment sharing your thoughts, and remember, you deserve to be someone's priority, not their option. Thank you for listening.